Welcome to Wayne's Law of Attraction. Welcome back to my true life stories using the law of attraction. Well, today is one of my most favorite stories. I call it my Bruce Springsteen story. Now, for this, I have to take you back into time, in Toronto around 1980 when the boss released his double album, The River. All right. And around this time, I had no license, so I was always in my best friend's car. And around this time, he met a new girlfriend. Let's call her Nisi. Nisi had a best friend named Michelle, and both Michelle and Nisi loved Bruce Springsteen. They absolutely worshiped the man. And I thought his music was okay, right? It was so so. I respected the man, I liked Bruce himself, but I wasn't really a fan of his music yet. And Michelle knows I don't really like Bruce's music at this point. And she says, Wayne, you have to see Bruce in concert. Then you'll really like his music. And I said, Michelle, I find it hard to believe that I would magically begin to like someone's music simply because I saw them perform it in concert. But she insisted. She said, oh no, Bruce is so good in concert. He's got so much energy. You would love the concert. To which I replied, I'm open minded. Sure, I'd love to see him in concert, but I'm not going to pay for the tickets. To which my friend replied, why don't you try winning tickets? You're good at that. And Michelle coyly said, Bruce is coming in concert in 3 months. So that put the thought in my head. So I said, okay. I made my wish. I took immediate action. I checked the radio dials to see if there were any contests. I skimmed the rock and roll magazines to see if there was any other contests, but there were none to be had, which makes sense. It was still 3 months out. So I decided, well, why don't I just revisit this in about a week before the concert? So that's what I did. Well, on the day of the concert, I realized, oh my God, I forgot. And I thought, oh, well, it wasn't a big deal to me anyway. So I said, I'm just going to sit down and watch TV. It's not going to happen this year. Maybe I'll check him out in concert some other time. All right, fair enough. So as I walked toward my sofa to sit down and watch TV, something in me said, wait, if you sit down, that's it. It's over. It's not over yet. There's still 5 hours before the concert. It ain't over till the boss sings. So that started an internal debate. I'm standing in the middle of my living room debating whether I should go out or stay and watch TV, right? And the thoughts were like this, like, what could possibly happen? Like, just because I go out doesn't mean, like, what could possibly happen? I have no idea. And then the other side was, if you sit down, though, they're not going to come walking through your living room. It's over. You're thrown in the towel and it's over. So I was flip-flopping like a fish on a dock, debating should I stay or go out. I finally compromised and said, okay, I'll just go to the corner store and buy some chips and pop. I figured that way I'll have some snacks to watch TV with. All right, so that's what I did. So I decided to go out, grab my jacket, but on this day, for some reason, I turned left. Normally, I turn right because that's where all the businesses are. That's where all the snacks and pop are and the restaurants. But for some reason, I turned left. And if you turn left, it's a quiet street named Ontario Street. It's a residential, very quiet. You would unlikely meet anyone. But I decided to walk that way. I think it's because, well, I figured might as well maximize the potential to meet people. I don't know how that could help. So I decided to walk the whole block. All right. So when I got to the end of the street, I looked across Ontario Street and I saw this couple talking to this man. And I didn't know what they're talking about, but it looked like he handed something to them. And I thought it was like free samples, like toothpaste, mouthwash, or something like that. So as he was crossing the street toward me, I said, excuse me, are you giving away something, free samples? And he said, sort of, concert tickets. Do you like Bruce Springsteen? My heart started to beat faster. Oh my God. I was trying to figure out if this guy was joking or not, right? And when I realized that he was not joking, I said, yeah, well, and actually I explained the whole story to him about me and Michelle, how I'm not a fan yet, but I want to try and see him in concert and everything that Michelle had said, right? And he looked at me and he said, okay, I'll tell you what. I'm going to ask you a trivia question. If you can answer it, I'll give you 2 free tickets. And I said, okay, shoot. And he says to me, who does Bruce want to let him in, be his friend, and guard his dreams and visions with. And I thought, oh, that's Wendy, Born to Run, right? And that's the only one of the few songs that I knew. And he said, that's right. And he handed me 2 tickets to Bruce Springsteen. Oh my God. So I'm standing there holding these tickets and I'm staring at them, right? And he noticed that I was staring at them a long time and he says, is there something wrong? And I said, first of all, thank you so much for these tickets. I am so grateful for them. What I was thinking of is my friend's girlfriend has like 3 sisters, and I'm not sure how to navigate that. So he looked me in the eye and he said, okay, so it sounds like you need a total of 6 tickets. The girlfriend, the 3 sisters, her boyfriend, and you. 6 tickets, right? And I said, I sheepishly nodded my head and said, I guess. And he said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask you another trivia question, but I warn you, it's going to be a little harder this time. But if you get it, I'll give you all 6 tickets. But if you get it wrong, I'm going to take those 2 tickets back. What do you say? And I said, okay, go for it. You see, normally, normal people would just take what you have. Like, I'd take those 2 I have and run. But I didn't really care, right? So I didn't know what I really had. So I was willing to gamble. So I said, sure, go for it. And he says to me, are you sure? And I said, yeah, I think so. Go ahead. And he asks me, who runs through the woods of Caroline? I thought, oh my God, Junior Johnson, Cadillac Range. And he goes, that's right. How did you get that? Here you go. Right? And he gives me all 6 tickets. That was my favorite song at that time. I knew only 4 songs from Bruce, right? I think it was like Out in the Street, Hungry Heart, Born to Run, and Cadillac Range, right? And I knew the lyrics of that one song. And I couldn't believe it. I'm sitting there in the street staring at these golden ducats, and he goes, congratulations, have a good time. And he walked away, right? And I'm thinking, thank you. I'm like thanking him and like left and right over and over. I take the tickets, I run home, call my friend. I go, oh my God, you won't believe what happened. I have talked to Nisi. I've got 6 tickets to see the boss. All right. Anyway, it was a great time. It was a great concert, but it doesn't end there. It was a really, really one of my favorite moments. And the reason is it's one of those history things. This concert, the River concert, River tour, was half stadium. This is one of those things where people say, oh yeah, I was there. An example would be like the Police. When the Police were not famous, they played a club called The Edge in Toronto, and it only houses, 100 people or something like that? And like 1,000 people said, oh yeah, I was there. And they'd lie, of course. But I can honestly say I saw Bruce perform in a half stadium at the CNE. It was amazing. Like, it was really close, right? As opposed to today where Bruce can sell out huge stadiums and you're like, on the big screen. But that is such a great memory because it was half stadium. And that's my Bruce Springsteen sort of story. Oh my God, I couldn't believe that happened. And the moral of the story is, Michelle was right. When you're open-minded enough to try new things, you might experience new and wonderful experiences. And they're true. Because that life you want is just waiting for you to claim it. Let's make it happen together.